It doesn't matter if you've been in the real estate business for 1 year, 5 years, or 25 years. It just matters that you start. Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's edition of NoteSchool TV, and it is episode number 259. Yes, we are 1 week away from our 260th episode, which means we have been doing this for 5 years every week, right? When? 11:05 Central Time. So, yep, we're really excited about that. And today we have an amazing guest. Good friend of mine, good friend of Eddie's, Note Schools, just a really sharp guy. You're going to love his story. So let's welcome Mr. Mike Gibson.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
It's so good to have you on. I just don't know why it took so long to get you on Note School TV, right?
Right.
It's my fault, not yours.
But I'm here now.
You're here now. That's all that matters. So, Mike, you've done a whole lot of stuff. You live in St. Louis, obviously, and I was urged to try some of that, the butter cake. What the
gooey butter cake?
Gooey butter cake. That is some ridiculously amazing stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're famous for our toasted raviolis. So if you come to St. Louis, I'll take you out and get you some.
That sounds good. That sounds very good. So, Mike, let's talk about, as we do, with our guests. So what were you doing really before Note School, as far as, work and all of that? What were you doing?
Yeah. So before I joined Note School, I got my real estate license when I was in college. So I've been in the real estate business for over 40 years. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I've experienced just about every aspect of the real estate business. Started out in residential brokerage, moved to commercial brokerage. I am a appraiser, an investor. I started a franchise, brought a franchise to St. Louis and built that up into a huge business in the St. Louis area. We're the number one real estate company in St. Louis. Wow. And currently I am the director of commercial real estate for Keller Williams in St. Louis. That's
amazing, but that's a lot.
I got 40 years to do it. So
got 40 years to do it. Yes. And we have, we do have a lot of great Keller Williams agents in Note School as well, but that is very impressive. So did you guys hear that? The dog's going crazy. Adam, let's stop it and we'll go back. I need to go do something with these guys. I'll be right back. I'm sorry. I haven't had this happen before, Mike. So let's just stop it. Is that okay?
No problem.
All right. Yeah. That's fine.
I see Adam. He's getting annoyed now.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. Hey.
My dog does the same thing. Just I'm not on camera when it happens. So.
Come on, Jeff.
That's actually the first time Joe's ever had to stop.
Yeah, when UPS or FedEx or the mailman or whatever rolls in, then it becomes a shit show. So, Adam, you want to start? We were going to go into the next question there. I just talked about Keller Williams for a minute.
Yeah.
And so we got a good cut here.
Yeah. Just start from there and I'll make it work.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So, Mike, what was the biggest frustration or the biggest pain that you were facing in all of these different things that you were doing? What were you really kind of looking for? What was the pain?
So my biggest frustration was that I was working in the business. I'm too far into it to actually build my investment portfolio. All right. So my frustration level was that I had to, trying to build a investment business along with working in the business. I didn't have time to do that. Right. So just like most people, I started out, my first investment was a single family residence.
Right.
And I quickly realized that in order to hit the income goals that I wanted to generate through my investments through real estate, I had to level up. So I went from the single family residence to the 2 and 4 family, the 6 family, the 8 family, and the 12 family. I just kept moving up the line each time I purchased an investment, with the idea that I would have all of my doors in one location instead of spread out throughout the area. But I quickly realized that I still wasn't going to hit my goals based on that investment, that real estate investment. So through there, I moved into the mobile home business with the idea that I was renting out I owned the mobile home park, and I was renting out the pads, and I did not own the mobile homes. Right. So each time that I moved into a different asset class in my investment, my goal was to increase my cash flow and my return on my investment with reducing the day-to-day chore of running that asset class, or I called it the noise. I wanted to reduce the noise and increase my investments. So what I quickly realized in the mobile home business was that mobile homes are not really mobile. So what happened was, when one of my tenants who rented the concrete pad in my mobile home park, when they wanted to move or they could not sell the house, they just abandoned the mobile home in the park.
Took off.
And it became my property, my issue. And I found myself back into the single family residence because I needed to rehab that mobile home and get it back on the market. And again, I was in the rental business. So from there, I moved, and this is over a term of 40 years. Right? This is my journey. I moved to the self-storage business. With the self-storage idea was I did not have tenants living in my units. And so that's currently where I am today. Is I buy, invest in, manage, operate, underwrite, and look to purchase and build self-storage units throughout the Midwest.
Got it. You did step up the ladder. You realized that you'd have to have a whole lot of houses to get to where you needed to be, and that's a whole lot of capital, right? And that's doing it one at a time. And then you got up into multifamily, and you realized that was a little more scalable. And then everything, mobile homes, and let me tell you, people make money with every one of those investments, right? I mean, you have, and you've done. But at the end of the day, well, storage is probably one of the closest things you can get to passive if you've got a good manager, because you got to love the fact that if they don't pay this month, you just go put another lock on the door. Right?
Correct. Yep.
So yeah, for sure. So anyway, so you came to a realization, and you knew you wanted to make a change, and then what finally was the straw that broke the camel's back when you said, yes, I do have to, I want to make a change. What happened there?
All right. So, my goal was to try to create or move toward the perfect passive investment. Right? And each time I took a step toward that, I moved toward it, but I did not get there. All right. So, each time, and you were right, each time there was an increase in, the investment, the cash flow, the return on the investment, and a decrease in the noise of each asset. But then I had to figure, eventually I'm going to want to slow down and retire. All right. So now I need to find the investment that has a consistent high level of return with very little noise attached to it. And that's why I found Notes.
Very good. So the big question is then, so you knew you wanted to make a change, you were ready to make the change. So How did you discover Note School?
So I'm a big believer in education. One way to accelerate the education is to join mastermind groups, which I have done throughout my career. And I was in a self-storage mastermind group when Eddie Speed came and spoke on creative financing and how to build a portfolio of notes. And at that mastermind, the light bulb went off. I mean, here was my answer that I'd been looking for, where I could generate consistent, predictable income over long periods of time and manage a lot of them. And also it became my exit strategy for the assets that I currently manage. And that is my goal is to systematically over the next 3 to 5 years, sell each of my self-storage investments and convert all that to notes for my retirement for the next 30 years.
There you go. We always have people, and Mike, you do some speaking about Note School to some other folks there. Yes, and the thing that I always heard when I was doing a talk about notes was that, God, I wish I had just found this 20 years ago or 10 years ago. That really doesn't matter. It's that you just don't know what you don't know. And right. I think that's what's cool about this business is it, whether you say niche or niche, right? It is a niche business that you can find any time, and you can start moving those. And really what you're doing is you're just becoming the bank.
Correct.
And that's pretty cool.
The paper side of the business. Yeah. It took me 40 years, almost 40 years to find it. So, but once I did, this is my exit strategy.
Well, damn the torpedoes full speed ahead. So yeah. What was you've bought a couple notes now. So what was kind of your first win and your realization with that?
Okay. So my very first purchase was I bought a small note performing just to test the waters. Mm-hmm. So I kind of was using the education that I was getting from Note School. And then I bought the note, and then I quickly realized I had some property that I could convert to seller financing, create my own note on just small individual properties that I had. So those were my first two, would say wins, and to get my feet wet. And then from here, now I have a path, on how to dispose of, and exit, my portfolio, from now into the future. So
yeah. And we're seeing that a lot more. We have a lot of, folks like yourself. I was one of those, a landlord, and realized that, there is another way out there that you can maximize. You have, less stress or no stress when you're the bank. You have somebody else that's servicing those loans so that you don't have to, and you don't have to worry about being compliant and, keeping up with escrow accounts and all of that kind of stuff. It just becomes a freeing situation. So what changed, what you've started making those changes. And so what would you say are the biggest changes, or is the biggest change that you've made since you've kind of delved into that? And we hear people say that all the time. I just, bought a smaller note, and then I did another one. And then now I've realized I've got these rentals I can sell and be the bank. So what's changed? What was that light bulb moment like?
Well, so what has changed was, as I said earlier, my big why is education, right? Mm-hmm. So, and it's with the belief that you can lose everything, but what they cannot take away from you is your mind, right? So no matter what happens, I now have the ability to build back up. So it allowed me to take, it basically removes risk from a lot of my investments. But what changed for me with the notes is I have 3 kids, and I wanted to put them through school all the way through college. Mm-hmm. So they exited college with no debt. Yeah. And I want them to start their life off with a blank slate. And then from there, they can do whatever they want. So right now, when I was buying a house years and years, when I was young out of college, the first time home buyer was 27 years old. Now, today, the first time home buyer is 37 years old.
Right.
45% of the kids who graduate college move back with their parents, not because they want to, it's because financially they have to. So the industry has changed. So what has changed for me then, as after I paid for, this is before I understood how to use notes to pay for future debt, like college debt. I wish I would have known this 20 years ago, and it would have really helped out. But back then, I just basically wrote the check every single semester for 10 years of semesters. So I woke up one day and found out that I took care of everybody but my wife and I. So of our retirement, it's not liquid. It is all tied up in the real estate. So now what I need to do is accelerate our retirement now that college is paid for all my kids. And so now I can do that using notes. So,
Mike, my biggest thing is I always say, we're all more alike than we are different. Your story is not unlike mine. I have 3 kids as well, and didn't want to have them come out and be, have a bunch of debt. And it really is. This is inspiring for other people out there that are listening. And that's why we do NoteSchool TV. Everybody has a story and it all relates. And I like the fact that, again, like we said in the beginning, it doesn't matter when you start. It just matters that you find it and you do start. And, I love that part of the story. And it is something that, we can get out there and we can do. And at some point, you don't have to get after it every day. Right.
Right.
So what's something that somebody was thinking about, getting into notes or going to note school or whatever? What would you say to them?
So I come from a real estate background because that's what I chose as my career. However, you do not need to have any background in real estate to get into the note business.
Right.
Everything that you need to start investing in notes, you can learn from Note School. Everything is taught. Your background doesn't matter. You don't have to have a lot of available cash to get into this. There's so much opportunity to build your investment portfolio, no matter what level you have. If it's zero, it doesn't matter. You can start it and accelerate it. If it's you have lots of property, you have to use it as an exit strategy. There's just a lot of opportunity that's built into this. So
So what is the biggest pieces that you think you've gotten? You're a member of Note School's membership program. And so what is it you feel like you get out of that whole mentoring process? Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So the first thing that the big thing I get out of it is the education. All right. Not only is there a lot of education on there for you can constantly learn. Again, my big why is education. So not only can I learn, but there's different ways to learn, all on the portal or all on the website. So my first reason I joined was to get knowledge and education. And again, I base it on the mastermind principle that I can accelerate my education and knowledge by being around people who are already where I want to be or where I want to go. The second thing that I got out of Note School, joining Note School, was the opportunity. There is so much opportunity to invest, whether I want to be performing, non-performing. It could be a creative financing, which was my third takeaway. Was basically I have used the creative financing part of Note School to build my commercial real estate business for my clients. I can now use creative financing to help my clients buy and invest and get into their own commercial investments.
Sure.
And then the fourth big takeaway, which is huge, is you're just surrounded by a lot of people, like-minded people. And because there's so much opportunity, everybody you meet wants you to be as successful as you can possibly be. And that's from the people that have been in it for 3 months to people that have been in it for 5-10 years. Doesn't matter. It's a great group of people who we're constantly learning, growing, and honestly, some of these people have become very good friends of mine in the last 2 years.
Mike, that you're exactly right. Some of the best friends I've made over the last 10, 15 years has been right inside of Note School, because we understand what we're doing. Sometimes it's hard to talk to people that really don't, well, what do I do? Well, my kids used to say my dad's in the CIA or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an amazing community. And you also said something else there, and that's the commercial side of this. Seller financing. Well, would you agree that it's kind of hard to find financing for a good commercial deal today? I mean, with the way the banks are operating at this point.
It is. We're seeing with the baby boomer generation aging quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing the biggest transfer of commercial real estate in the history of our country. So there's lots of opportunity to buy. There's opportunity, to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So, and by using the creative financing aspect of what I learned, I now I can open that up to and explain that to investors who might not have even thought about a way to dispose of property or to purchase additional property or whatever. So.
Yeah, I had and I say this all the time, one of my first mentors, Dr. Ben Dowd. He was a PhD economist, and I walked into his office one day at University of Central Florida, and he said, "Joey, old boy," he said, "I'm going to tell you something." I said, "Yes, sir, Dr. Ben." He said, "Just remember, money has an end, but cash flow is continuous." And, that's what our generation, the baby boomers, like you talked about, that's what we're really looking for, that cash flow, because while some people say, "Oh, I'd love to have this huge lump sum of cash," but then you've got to go invest that into something that's going to, be passive and safe and all of those many things.
Right. And by doing notes, I can stretch that out over 10, 20, 30 years.
Yep, there's some tax hacks there that go along with it, right? So lot to do there. So, Mike, we always ask this as kind of the final question, and the big why I know you had said is education. And let's talk about the real piece behind all of that, right? Your why as far as family legacy and all of that.
Yeah. So, like I said, my big why is education. And by putting my kids through, through schools and making coming out debt free, and basically then, the kids can start their life off with no debt. Right. What it does for me, though, is now I can accelerate my retirement. But also what it does is it gives me now cash flow, gives me cash flow into the future. And I can continually build my note business now to leave a legacy for my family when I'm gone, So
you didn't think about that, as I didn't, as much 25 years ago as you do today, right?
Right. I was too busy working in the business.
You're too busy grinding it out and building it, and then you go, "Oh goodness, and I can really do this." So, Mike, you're an inspiration. I know that a lot of people will are going to get this, right? Get what you're saying, because like I said, we're more alike than we are different, and we put our pants on the same way every day and do those things. So I really appreciate it, and thanks so much for agreeing to be on. We'll have to have you on it, again here before long, to talk about things as they continue to move forward and you move forward. So, any final words?
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. So there you have it, folks. Another amazing special guest of Note School who just gets it and has came in and is setting the world on fire and has a different outlook. So a couple of things. Number one, if you'd like to know more about what we do at Note School, simply go to noteschool.com/TV. Again, noteschool.com/TV. And we have Note Expo coming up here November 7th and November 8th. You can go to notexpo.com and read all about it. That will be, well, the Galleria, the Westin at the Galleria Mall in Dallas, Texas will be ground zero for Note Expo here in just a few short weeks, about 38 days or something like that. So we'd love to see you there, and you can see the link down in the bottom there. And we look forward to seeing you there. Not, we'll see you next week, same place, same time. Have a great weekend. See you now.